morning, guys. Hi, Jackie.
Yes, I'm so excited. The third movement is
Jane, are you playing today? What are you playing? A lot 3. That's cool. Good morning. With Professor Lomazov, everybody knows. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and do that. That'll be great. 1 second, Bella. We're going to have a little introduction.
We're still waiting for the few people to come in. You can warm up if you like.
okay.
Just run a few scales or whatever. Good piano, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Alright guys, welcome to your Masterclass. Great to see you all you guys here. We're going to start. This is Marina Lomazov from DC School of Music. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, you have a very good atmosphere, character, I guess. You have a very good character for this piece. With Beethoven, character and rhythm are kind of intertwined. I think Beethoven feels rhythm as kind of an integral part of what drives the music.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, when I see people trying to play Beethoven musically, it sometimes dilutes the character.
Yeah.
Because, let's say you're trying to play something lyrically, it gives a different timing to the music.
Mm-hmm.
And that timing begins to kind of mellow out or melt the character that might, well, in my opinion, has to be a little bit more straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a very good feel for straightforward character in certain places where you feel like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and play. But in places like the main theme, you feel like, oh, it needs more sensitivity. And I think it really kind of cuts into the character of the piece,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is basically dance.
Yeah.
It's a rustic dance too.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not very complicated. So I wonder if we could start with that and establish kind of the basic pulse of the dance. And what makes dance feel like a dance? Anybody can tell me, like rhythmically, what does it tell, what tells you that it's a dance rhythmically? Anybody has ideas? Yeah, go ahead.
Clear downbeats.
Yes, clear downbeats. What does that imply for the other beat?
Light other beats.
Upbeats, exactly. So it's the alternation between the downbeats and the upbeats that signals to everybody, okay, this is something I can dance to. So if you think of like dance music, you know, disco music or whatever, other music, you have an alteration between beats and your body immediately begins to respond to it. If you have that does not incline you to dance, okay? So another way, lyrically, like you can also have kind of a equalized beats, but in a lyrical way. That's also not dance-like, you see? So what you need is an alternation between the downbeats and the upbeats. So just show me that in the left hand. Downbeat, upbeat, downbeat. Downbeat, upbeat, downbeat. And the thing about the upbeat, it has to be exactly in the middle of the measure. So you have to feel that middle of the measure. 1 and 2 and. Good, excellent. You see, so that's already much more dance-like. Then add to that a little bit sharper releases. So again, if it's just a little bit longer, it signals a different character to us. So, and I know it says quarter note, but the conventional wisdom and Malcolm Bilson say if you have a freestanding quarter note, it's half of its value. Plus, when it's really presto, it's really fast, so the release is going to be fast. So much sharper. Play it from the key. That's it. And good. Don't soften it here. That's good. That's good. So now the right hand kind of mimics that downbeat up, downbeat up, downbeat up. And then the music begins to dance, you see? Yeah. So a little bit more straightforward, yeah? Good, Bella. Excellent, excellent, yeah. So you see how it kind of changes things a little bit, right? Not drastically, you already felt it inside, but you just try to be a little bit more kind of lyrical or sensitive and just enough that it softened the rhythm. Excellent. I would add to that a little bit more projecting right hand. Yeah. That register in the Steinway is famously a little bit softer, actually, the 5th octave. So you have to kind of compensate. Maybe softer left hand, but sharp. Listen to the right hand. Good. Now listen to the left hand. Downbeat, upbeat. And forte. Okay. Good. The forte needs a little more oomph. Yeah. And then those sforzandos. So, in the right hand, make sure that when you reach the middle of the measure, it's not downward, it's up. Yeah, and a little bit more oomph. Not with tempo. I know it's hard to kind of keep the tempo steady, but can you do that rhythmically? So it's you. I can feel 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Left hand. Svartan down. And yeah, good, good. And then later on, you do a really good landing on that fortissimo, which is the first fortissimo in the piece, in this movement. Mm-hmm. And I think it really kind of arrives, yeah? So you could broaden this. And you do that. Yes, and then good. If you get a good bass, it'll cover you for the entire passage. But if you yeah. And then the same alteration of beats. Can you feel pa 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 pa? And that's how you maintain the same tempo. And the same tempo. Because that was a little bit different from the previous tempo before. But yeah, absolutely, just maintain the same tempo and it becomes really exciting for us to hear. Good. When you get to the sforzando single notes, you can probably group them a little bit in longer phrases. Mm-hmm. So one measure becomes a downbeat and one measure becomes an upbeat. How about that? Dum, bum, dum, upbeat. Down, beat, up, beat, yeah, and show me that. Don't play all the notes. I know, and you're actually already doing that a little bit, but do it really consciously. It's a group of 2 notes. That's what signals one measure as a unit. Yeah. If you kind of do downward strokes on both notes, you can't group them. Okay, so down, 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 down. Another way to think about it is just think of 4 notes in one 4-note group. Dum, 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 and then feel the middle of it. Dum, bum, bum, dum. And the same thing, so it's basically the same idea in tram. So you can group them the same way. One measure down, one measure up. 2 measure units. Da, 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 da. Up, down, up. That's right. Yeah. Right hand more. Yeah, it begins to run away from you. I know it's hard, and that probably requires additional practice on your part. But if you, inside that 1 measure unit, feel the micro, that triplet. If you play all the notes of the triplet equally, the triplets begin to accelerando. Mm-hmm. If you feel pa pa pa, like a tiny little grouping, then the triplets become steadier. Okay, yeah. But it requires presence of mind on the triplets. So try to keep that. That's right. Good. Beautiful, beautiful. I would just add to that a different balance between the hands. Yeah. So obviously you're paying attention to the left hand, right. But when all said and done, when you got that mastery of that, then you reverse the balance. That's what we want to hear. But for now, let's just keep going. Right hand, brilliant. Yeah, I think you're afraid to give brilliance to your right hand. I can see it like being very controlling. I don't mean floppy, but yeah, I think if you release your weight into a strategic points, the down and the up, yes, exactly. I know it might be a little bit deader there. That was much better, yeah. And, you know, pedal is a great magnifier. You can actually add a little bit of pedal. Yes, even though it's piano, and this is piano, so this is probably the only truly relical spot in the whole movement. But this, even though it's also piano, it's much more rigorous and bubbly. And then you change back to kind of a more lyrical character. And then back and forth. Yes. Exactly. Just kind of a word that you probably should bind these when you give them to me, because I'm completely lost now where they are. But good, I loved what the left hand was doing there. So, this is not easy, okay? This is not an easy spot in the, and I think it just requires practicing left hand by itself for a little bit longer than you think you should. Okay. And I think it also boils down to installing a sense of rhythmic alteration in the hand. So this is clear, and then without rushing, this is lighter. And I can feel my first finger kind of tensing up and skipping notes. And so I'm going to do a little bit of work to try to like make it more comfortable, probably by moving the hand there a little bit more. So, but try for the rhythmic. Sometimes I have to do that to kind of wake up the relationship between the two notes. See, already better. Exactly. Good. Yeah. Okay, 5 minutes. Good. We're almost at the end. Yeah. So when all said and done, it's not about the left hand. It's about those syncopas that come at the wrong moments and play against. Good. Keep left. That's it. Balance. Good. 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 And explode with pedal. Yeah, shorter. Pum, pum. Good. Yeah, Bella, you're hiding behind your left hand for the most part. I feel your ears are holding onto this like a safety net. That's right. Okay, in most scores, this is tied as well. This is really weird to see that untied. The E. Okay, check your sources. Because I think the Henley edition has it tied. That's how I always heard it.
I think this is the Henley, but maybe it's a different.
Strange.
Yeah. I'll check.
Anyway, yeah, but good. We went through the whole exposition, and you can apply that for the rest of the movement. Great.
Yes,
Great
thank
to
you
work
so
with
much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Who is next? Uh-oh. Let's look at the schedule. this was a, let's see, this was a beautiful performance. Can you hear me? Is that, okay, good. Yes, you look slightly dissatisfied, or maybe that's just a poker face. Tell me why.
I just recovered this piece, so the pattern is not working, obviously.
Not obvious to me. I thought you did really well with memory. You okay, so yeah, so you skipped not half a page. I mean, just like one phrase. Yeah, so it happens. Not a bad, you know. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, so you just brought this piece back. So you're just like not confident 100% in it. Yeah, but you show great understanding of Chopin's style, and once you got over, you know, being on stage and played through the more involved part of the piece, I mean, you really came together and you got really into the music. So I liked it a lot. As you, are you gonna continue to bring it back for some performances?
Maybe I just after I finished recording it, then I was gonna drop
Kind of put it away. Yeah, and when did you finish recording it?
like about like over a month ago.
So you just brought it in for the festival, but you're basically done with this. Okay. I love finding out the backstory to things. Well, you know, this gives us a great opportunity, since you're not planning to do it for any impending performance and you kind of are shelving it sort of in your mind. But you will come back to it at some point, because we come back to the great Chopin works over and over again. This becomes part of us, you know. So it gives me a great opportunity to talk about some general things in not just Chopin works, but how to approach music in general, and some of the, I guess, terminology that you want to think about when you play any music. So you guys are going to hear the word long lines, longer phrases, bigger phrases, like in any kind of combination of words your whole life. You're going to get sick of this comment that teachers are going to tell you. You have to feel the longer line. You have to feel the bigger phrases. You're like, oh, how do I do that? And it's essentially, and I remember feeling that way when I was your age. I was worried about what's in front of me. Like, how do I play this measure? I mean, if I just get through this measure, I'll be happy. I don't care about the longer line. You know, you have immediate worries. Occasionally, when the piece is really confident, you start hearing bigger lines, right? But it almost comes like instinctually, like it doesn't come as a deliberate process of practicing. I'm guessing. Am I right, or am I? You don't know. Do you think about longer lines? Is that a comment that comes up? Bigger phrases? No? Oh, okay. Well, good. You're lucky. But here is what I learned through, you know, experimentation and experience, basically. Music doesn't tolerate equality. If you are concerned, or if you're thinking about, okay, this note, and then this third, and then these double notes, and then this combination of chords, you're not hearing how any of these notes relate to each other. So they might come out okay for this particular note. It could be a good tone. This could be a good tone. But in combination with each other, they may sound too equalized, or they may sound too uneven. And then you spend a lot of time trying to kind of micromanage, okay, if it's gonna be if it has to be a phrase, like how do I do a phrase? Like what do I aim for? How do I play the notes in a way that creates a phrase? Well, here are a few simple things that you can apply, and they apply to everything. What we call grouping. What is grouping? Grouping basically is any collection of notes with some notes being heavier or more important than other notes. That's it. So grouping, like dance music, implies that there is a more important note and a bunch of less important notes. And the gesture with which you play a grouping helps you emphasize this inequality. And music thrives on inequality. Music likes to be like this, but if it's done in the right way. So let's take a triplet, for instance. If we play a triplet and you play all three notes in a triplet equally, or maybe you're just trying to shape them to the next downbeat, and you do a straight crescendo. It might sound logical to you, and you're like, yeah, I'm trying to shape it to the next downbeat, but it's going to sound heavy. Why? Because in a triplet notes number 2 and 3 should be a little bit lighter than triplet note number 1. Otherwise, it doesn't sound like a triplet. It sounds like 3 heavy notes. So in order for it to sound like a triplet, you want to kind of lilt up the number 2 and 3 of the triplet, and that requires a different gesture than this. This basically, you're playing down all the time. If you're playing a triplet, you're playing down up. You might want to try that. Yeah, you should probably also carry a second score. Exactly. So play just a triplet. Don't even worry about the downbeat. Exactly. So you changed the direction of how your hands move, and suddenly it sounds a little bit more lilting. Now, what about shaping it to that more important next downbeat? Well, you still can. You just play the next downbeat a little bit more. So basically what you have is that relationship, the first of the triplet, and then the next downbeat of the triplet, you see? And then the first 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's hard for me to do that here. We're basically going over here. So that's going to be the most kind of prominent of the phrase. That. So everything else requires a little bit more gestural thinking. And that's if you apply the rule of grouping, either triplets or sometimes we have 16th notes, right? So a group of 4. In that sense, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you have a passage, you basically do what we call terrace dynamics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And it sounds really excitingly kind of straight, but it's really not straight. If you do it straight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you run out of room. And we've all been there with that kind of, hitting the ceiling, right? So people are going to talk about subdividing or not subdividing. And so what that really means is you do not play all 4 notes in a 16th note group equally. I don't care if it's equally light or equally sharp. If it's equal, it's going to sound subdivided. If it has a lilt, if you do a group, you hear the kind of a lightening up on the last note. And we can apply it to any of the Chopin etude. If you really listen inside the group, and then what you do is you kind of combine the beginnings of each group into a bigger group. And that begins to kind of bridge the subdivisions into bigger and bigger groups and creates bigger and bigger phrases. So how does it all apply to the opening of this ballade, which is notoriously difficult to do? Start with small building blocks. Look at it and recognize that these are triplets. And in your mind, kind of organize the triplets into triplets. So you have first gesture, next gesture, and then make the 2 and 3 of each triplet a little bit lighter. So can we try to do that with just the right hand? Can you do just one triplet? Good. Good. And then, yeah, that's going to be terrace-like, right? You just jump on a new level, a little bit brighter, and then this is the brightest. Yes, good. Now let's organize it 2 triplets in one gesture. Yeah, are you playing not double notes? What are you doing this in the left hand? Okay, so that's even easier. So I notice you put a lot of space between the 2 triplets. Is there a reason for that? Probably just the way the hand moves, right? Okay, so here is our first building block, a triplet. Here is the second building block, 2 triplets in a measure. If we have 2 triplets in a measure, it basically becomes unit number 1 and unit number 2. And we can organize that in an up and down and up gesture. So you have down, up, pam, pa, 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 pam. Down and up. 1, 2. Don't mess with that organization. So the overall rhythm kind of cannot be subject to the rubato. This is what it is. It's down and up and down and up. Down and up, down, up. Yeah. Yeah. Do you hear? Yeah. So that's how you deal basically with organization of the phrase. You start with small unit, then you put 2 units together, make it a bigger unit. Then you put 2 bigger units together, you make it even a bigger unit. And soon enough, you basically have a phrase. And the idea of rubato really does not enter into it, because you kind of instinctively will feel where let's say the biggest point of the phrase will need a little bit more time. It'll be very clear to you. It won't be a guessing work. So can we try that with both hands? Down and up. Yeah, do you hear how you're stretching all the beats, right? They're a little bit all behind. So get ahead of the beats. Good. Again, you kind of stretch it. I know you do that because that's probably what you plan to do. That's rubato. But if you were at the recital yesterday, did you hear the marvelous scherzo that Dr. Guzman have played? Did you like the scherzo? Did you feel how the scherzo just kind of unfolded like a flower? Dr. Guzman really understands the power of bigger beats. And he's not micromanaging the measures. He's going for much bigger fish than that. And so if you overstretch something in the middle of one measure and then in the middle of the next measure, and then the whole rhythmic structure begins to kind of wobble. So what you do here, you do it out of habit, not thinking about it, because probably you feel like somebody in recording did that, or maybe you just feel strongly about it. But meanwhile, you're bending it so much that the phrase stops existing. So put it in a framework of downbeats, upbeats first, without bending it, and then we'll see. That's right. Yes, good. Is the ending of the phrase going to be up or down? Down. So it's down and then down again. It should be quiet, yes. But my question is, should it be down and then downward again? Why should it be up? Because it's in the middle of the measure. If you want to have alteration of beats, which is what music thrives on, beats not being equal, we already have a downbeat here, and this is an upbeat by default. So you have a gesture that goes down and up, just like in the rest of the phrases. That's right. So now let's play the whole introduction once again. Get your tempo, get your organization of the phrases, of the rhythmic organization of the phrase, and kind of follow that. Just don't follow your hands. Don't do what the hands are used to. Follow your ears. Get the tempo. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 ta 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 ta. Do you see? Good. We have 5 minutes. We're just going to try to play as much as we can following that same organization. So down and up, down and up. And then up, not too much. Good, good. Is this up or down? Where is it in the measure? Down. Down? Where is it in the measure? Yeah. In the middle. Usually, in the middle of the measure. Gesture goes up or down. The second beat, verse, yeah. So first beat is, downbeat for a reason. That's what they call it, down. Yeah. So basically, if you go, it's gonna subdivide. You hear that? Try it from here. Good. 1, 2, 2, brighter. Good. Good. Yeah, great, great. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to work with you. All right. Do we know who is next? I have Young. Okay. Youngun Khan. Thank you. Oh, thanks. First movement. Okay. It's Beethoven Sonata, Opus 110. Do you mind putting the stand down? And you studied in South Korea, or are you studying in Austin?
I studied in South Korea and I'm also studying in Austin too.
Okay, you go to UT? No?
I am studying in Austin Community College right
Okay.
now. Thinking to transfer to
Uh-huh.
University. I'm not sure yet, but
Yeah, yeah. And where in Korea did you live?
I lived in Seoul.
Seoul. Your English is beautiful. Did you study English as a child? Yeah, it's great. Great. Well, your whole demeanor on stage is a little bit hesitant. And I take it's because of, lack of opportunities to be on stage. So your confidence level is not where it should be, given how well you play. So really, I'm here to tell you that you just need to play with a little bit more confidence. But you're not doing anything wrong. You're playing beautifully. Believe in what you're playing. That's it. That's my whole masterclass. I don't know if you were paying attention to the part where I said to Bella that she's hiding behind the left hand a little bit. Bella, do you know what that means?
Like when I think I was just listening more to my left hand to keep track of the pulse, and so it overshadowed the melody in the right hand.
But even when you performed, the balance was skewed a little bit. Now, part of it is the piano, and Dr. Guzman mentioned that it's a beautiful instrument, but he said the fifth octave, which is usually slightly muted on Steinway for whatever reason, is muted here as well. And so the ears need to compensate for it. So if you play by feel, you are not going to compensate for it. So it's a combination of playing with more confidence and listening to the melodies of the right hand. Your right hand is hiding a little bit. And so I'd like to reverse that and just have you project find a tone that speaks to the very last row of the whole and feel like you're communicating directly to that person in the last row. To Olivia, for instance, she's listening really intensely. See, I'm talking directly to you, Olivia. Can you hear it? Yeah, so if I just play softly without listening to the balance, the note just came out muted. I have to adjust to the instrument and compensate for it. And so it sometimes might sound a little bit louder than you think it should, but projection is part of our craft as artists. We have to communicate there, not here. We're really very simple folk. We just really want to hear melodies, right? We like melodies and we want to hear them clearly. And so if you deliver us melodies, we'll be very happy. So, more confidence, more melodies. Great, great. I loved your confidence. You got a lot more involved, and immediately the music spoke. Sometimes when we start communicating, we get a little bit nervous thinking, oh, we have to move forward, we have to make the phrase. And so the rhythm gets a little bit pushed, okay? Try to put that in a framework of a more strict rhythm. One and two, and one, two. Right there. Get to the bottom of the key and communicate. I know it's probably the piano. Maybe not completely the piano, change the pedal there. Find, listen to that balance between this and this. You see, if we're going, that's, yeah, exactly. So, try again. Don't push the left hand, steady. Listen to the right hand and don't push the left hand. Same tempo. Less pedal. Shh. As softly as you can. Less pedal. Good. Now project. Good. Yeah. Feels better, right? Yes. Yes. Good. Sometimes projecting makes us rush. I don't know why, but we associate playing louder with playing faster and playing softer with playing slower. And so when we try to finish the phrase softer, we usually also slow it down. And when we try to build the phrase up, we usually accelerando. If you catch yourself, if you know about it, catch yourself doing that, don't do it, okay? Resist that urge. So, if anything, expand here. Start from here. 1 and 2 and 3 and project, project. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Project. Now open up both hands. Both hands. Yeah, don't make this a swell. It's basically all forte, so big sound all the way through. Very good. Pronounce that, don't rush that. Climax. All right, from here. Project right hand. love that silence. Don't cover it up. Embrace it. It's part of the climax, you know? You've achieved this awesome pinnacle. And this is the quality of silence you're looking for before going on. Because what happens next is so unexpected. It's like a different person, different character comes in. And so embrace that moment where you don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah? Can you try it from just... Good. Yeah, you're doing really well. The development is all based on this motive of the beginning. And basically the entire opening is the idea of these two chord groupings. The first chord is more significant in its size. So when we try to force what essentially is a sigh, it backfires. It doesn't sound good. Plus, it's the third beat in a measure, which is usually lighter than the first two beats. So when your left hand is doing, your right hand sympathetically is trying to do the same things. And that's why sometimes you feel uncomfortable playing the development, and everybody does, because that's what happens, and we don't realize it. We usually pay attention to the left hand because it's harder, and we don't really listen to what's happening in the right hand, and meanwhile right hand is bumping out. So it would be very cool if you were combining being up in the right hand, being lighter in the second half of the measure, with not pushing the left hand there. And then I know it has a hairpin, and it looks like it has a hairpin, but it never sounded good to me. And lately I've been thinking maybe the hairpin is really not about the right hand pushing into the second beat. Maybe the hairpin is really about the left hand making a hairpin independently of its own. So there is a way to interpret the score. I mean, there is what's written in the score, and then how you are combining it with what you think about phrase making in general. But let's start with not pushing those beats in the middle of the measure, okay? Can you start from here? Yeah. Try to hear that gesture. And really hear where the third beat is. You kind of, you obscure it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Even though it's a soft third beat, place it exactly where it belongs. 2, 3. Yes. 3. Project right hand. And shush. Much better. Yeah. You hear how it's beginning to kind of settle into a conversation between the left and the right hand. Good. And add to that that you don't have to, you can be flexible when you finish a passage in the left hand, for instance. You don't have to rush and be absolutely strict in tempo. That you can govern, that micro rubato, I call it, you can basically govern with your left hand, provided that you continue feeling generally where the big beats fall. You can be a little bit more flexible where the next downbeat falls, for instance. Can you try that again, just with a little bit more flexibility from here? Maybe from here. Yeah, don't push. Yeah. Don't rush in the downbeats, right? Watch for these. Good. Yeah, I got a signal we have to stop here, but bravo, thank you very much. Oh, that's fine. Donald. Hey, Donald. Good to meet you. Tell me a little bit where you're coming from.
I'm from Chicago originally, but I recently moved down to Florida. I study at Stetson University.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Great. You're with Sean Canal. Yeah. If you don't mind just putting the stand down.
senior year of high school.
Oh,
And I played it then, and then now that I'm looking at college editions again, I thought this could be a cool contemporary piece to bring. So I kind of relearned it.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very cool piece. So, but you're a senior this year?
Yeah.
Or coming up senior year? Okay. Yeah, you have a good handle on it. You know, understand the structure, and you understand the kind of the humorous revving up of choo-choo train dance. And you do very well in the brilliant, the slower parts, and the kind of the octave, more brilliant parts. You do very well there. What I feel like you could do better on is the very soft parts that still need to project. So I think when we think piano, we sort of don't think of playing to the bottom of the keys. We just kind of touch the key, and the sound does come out. And yes, it is a piano sound. It's pianissimo sound, right? So we're like, okay, this is, I'm doing what's in a score. But we don't necessarily think of how it's going to sound in a whole later on. And then by the time we do get to thinking about how it's going to sound in a whole, the muscles have been so conditioned to just play lightly, it's kind of hard to rewire them. But I'm going to ask you to start doing that because you don't have enough projection when you play soft. So when you play soft, you still have to reach the bottom of the key. And the best way I found to get that bottom of the key feeling is not to play from above, but to have your fingertips connected with the key to begin with. And then from the key, you try to get that resonance and then quick release, obviously, because it's staccato here. Can you try that? Precisely. Yeah, it immediately will speak a lot more clear. So if you do this, it won't project quite so much, yeah? Good, the same thing with the right hand. So get your fingertips to play from the key, and you basically are working on reaching the bottom and quickly releasing the note. Even quicker, reach the bottom, and that's it. Yeah, you see how much concentration you need for that projection to happen, but that's what gives it projection. You have to focus, you have to make an effort. It's not just a physical touching, it's a mental effort to get the right clarity. Can you try that? You see, you started playing from above, and immediately the clarity goes down. So let's focus on every fingertip touching the key. I don't care if it's too slow. Yeah. Do you hear the clarity? Yeah. So you start there, that's your baseline, and then you start building that clarity in faster and faster tempo, okay? So that's basically what it needs. As you get more adept in playing that way, you start putting it into groupings. One group, another group. Good, good. Now you unite them into even bigger groups. So let's keep playing like this, yeah? You will care to at the left hand? Let's practice left hand with the same kind of technique. I can hear it. Yeah. Don't let the left hand cover up the right hand. Yeah. We start projecting and then the left hand comes up. Yeah. Keep the balance. Sometimes I'll just play a vertical, like when the hands meet, what does a good balance of the sound at that moment sounds like? And with the right hand. Good. Sometimes you inadvertently bump that note. I don't know if you notice it.
Yeah,
Or do you do it on purpose?
No.
Okay, just for you to know. All right, let's move up. Good, good. Continue to preserve that grouping. Two groups. So it doesn't sound like too many accents inside the measure. Can you try from? Don't make too many accents. Yeah. Yup. But projection. So continue to play from the key. If you play from the key, it's easier not to make accents. If you play above the key, you're going to start accenting stuff. Can you do it from here? Good. Good. With two hands. Projection, balance. Okay? And then there are all these little licks, right, that he's trading. They sound a little bit, I don't know, tentative. I don't know if you have a character in mind for them.
Still towards the.
But what about like the character of like inside? Yeah, yeah. I think there are two. They lack energy. I think the energy is conveyed through quickness of attacks. So we can play slow, but the quick attack on the key conveys a certain energy. And so if your attack is kind of slow, the character is going to droop. If the attack is faster, it's the same tempo, but the character will be more bubbly. So try, again, from the key. This time you're not releasing, but you're reaching the bottom of the key quietly but quickly. Yes, yeah, yeah, it's a different sound, actually. But if you start doing this, playing above the key, it immediately will be a different sound, you see? So you start like doing that and it just goes away. That's right. yes, and with a very sharp, quick release on the end of it. It's very dangerous to go, yeah, you don't want to accent that. It's actually quite hard to control that. Yeah, it requires a lot of concentration. But it would be nice to hear that even though it's softer, it has to have presence. You can't simply lift your hand. It won't give you that bite. I know. It's hard to do both, right? That's what I said. Yeah, it requires a lot of, so you probably have to spend some time on it. But that's when it starts really being, I think what it was meant to be. So let's keep going. Oh, it's still piano. So there is a way to make the piano really kind of stand out. Try it. Let's employ those same quick attacks from the keys. Good. So maybe you can't do it faster than that, but in a slower tempo, it sounded more fast than your fast tempo when it was a little bit more kind of rounded off. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the direction you want to be heading on. And he gives you a lot of articulations there, like a lot of little things. Like there's a pedal. Then there is a tenuto. Then there is a tenuto with a pedal there. So there's a lot of things you can kind of play around with to get the right swing of the dance. So this is with pedal, and then no pedal. And then meanwhile, the right hand dances staccato over it. Keep the pedal exactly to where it's like a different swing. If you do this pedal versus, it's a different sound, yeah? So he wants you to keep it longer. Again, he wants you to keep it longer. Yeah, I think you're not in the habit of doing that. Maybe you didn't think about that aspect of it, but that's basically what the sound that he wants. Can you try? Good, and then feel that. Yeah, I know you're in the habit of doing that, but you actually do a really good job when you really concentrate on it. I know it's hard to do all the things in the beginning, but just listen for that clarity of the right hand, right? No pedal there. It's just a hand tenuto.
that's going to produce a certain sound, and that's going to produce a different sound. So just for you to be aware of, I know you can't just like switch, turn a switch and then recalibrate everything, but I'm just kind of making you see the difference, yeah? So it's going to sound a lot more exciting, not to mention with more projection. So I would recommend kind of reconditioning your hands to a different type of staccato throughout. And it'll take a little bit of time. You have to go slow at the beginning. But that's okay. You've got time. It just kind of dilutes it, yeah, in my opinion. All right, so do the best you can. Try it again. Kind of have to reorganize and switch to from the key. Try the left hand. From the key. And I think it's E. I think, yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, it sounded so clear and vibrant. Good. So, great. We have just like 2 minutes. Can we move to the middle section? The left hand, moves well. The only thing I want to say about it is when you have the long notes, your attention completely switches over to the hand that's moving, has moving notes, and we lose the continuity of the melody. Can you keep some of your attention to connecting the long notes to create a longer phrase? Can you try that again? Listen to the G. Yes. Good. And connect to this. No doubt you were going attacking the first note with an accent, and so he says don't attack the first note with an accent, but you don't want to swing the pendulum all the way the other way and start from nothing, because then we'll lose the melody. Okay, so just take that with understanding of what you were doing before and just continue with the same tone. Don't change your tone. Can you try it from here? That's right. Good. Continue. Tone. Tone. Good. Yeah. No matter what, the tone has to project. It's not acceptable on stage. Okay? It might, you might be following the letter of the score. Yes, these are soft tones, but it doesn't mean that they're speaking tones. Yeah, so always keep that in mind. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. We have like maybe 2-3 minutes. If you guys have any questions, or we could just talk about things, we could, or I could just let you go. Anybody has any questions? Thoughts? Comments? Musings? Good. That means let us go, please. All right. Go in peace. Thanks so much.